History of America, Episode 1, The Lost Land. There have been 5 distinct times in Earth's history when the planet was covered in snow and ice, known as ice ages. These frigid periods spanned thousands of years and shaped not only the natural landscape but also the way early humans lived and migrated across the globe. One of the most important events in human history took place during the last Ice Age, an event that would set the stage for the history of the Americas. The last Ice Age, which began around 110,000 years ago and ended approximately 12,000 years ago, lasted for millennia. During this time, much of the Earth was frozen, with glaciers covering vast stretches of land. Early humans, still primitive by modern standards, adapted to this harsh world by forming tight-knit groups, hunting in packs, and seeking shelter in caves. As the Ice Age progressed, Earth's environment drastically changed. Some areas became inhabitable, while others saw the rise of new ecosystems. The climate was ever-changing, forcing humans to become more resilient, to travel further, and to find new resources. It was in these conditions that a small group of humans, likely from Siberia, unknowingly began a journey that would change the course of history. Around 20,000 to 25,000 years ago, as the Ice Age reached its peak, an important geographical feature began to emerge, the Bering Land Bridge. The seas that separated Asia from North America froze, creating a temporary land connection between the two continents. A group of hunters, likely following herds of prey such as mammoths, crossed into what is now Alaska, unaware that they were entering a new world. This migration is believed to have been the first movement of humans into the Americas, as these early settlers followed the land bridge across what we now call the Bering Strait. These humans, who carried with them the genes and traditions of the Old World, would become isolated from their distant ancestors for thousands of years. With the melting of the Ice Age and the subsequent rise in sea levels, the land bridge disappeared beneath the waves, permanently severing the connection between the Old and New Worlds. Over the millennia that followed, civilizations began to flourish across the New World. These cultures, completely unaware of the ancient world that lay across the oceans, developed their own unique societies. In the north, the early settlers adapted to the cold climates and built sophisticated societies. In the south, the mighty Aztec Empire in Mexico, the Mayans in Central America, and the Inca Empire in South America thrived in their own ways. The Aztecs built monumental cities like Tenochtitlan and developed a rich culture of art, architecture, and religion. The Mayans constructed incredible pyramids and developed a complex calendar system, while the Incas created an extensive road system through the Andes Mountains and built an empire that stretched from modern-day Chile to Colombia. These civilizations were advanced in their own right, with impressive achievements in agriculture, astronomy, and engineering. However, they remained cut off from the rest of the world due to the vast oceans that separated them from the continents of Europe, Africa, and Asia. On the other side of the world, life was drastically different. Europe, Asia, and Africa were thriving, but the economies and political landscapes of these continents were in flux. The fall of Constantinople in 1453, the loss of critical trade routes to the east, and increasing economic hardship were forcing Europeans to look beyond their shores. In particular, the desire to find new trade routes to Asia, with its spices, silk, and other luxury goods, was becoming more urgent. The existing routes to the east, through the Middle East and Asia, were becoming dangerous and unreliable. This set the stage for a period of exploration, one that would forever change the world. It was during this time of uncertainty and ambition that a young Italian sailor named Christopher Columbus emerged. Columbus was not just an ordinary sailor, he was a visionary who believed that the best way to reach Asia was not by sailing east, but west. Inspired by the accounts of Marco Polo and his travels to China and other parts of Asia, Columbus proposed an audacious idea: he would sail across the Atlantic Ocean, expecting to reach the riches of Asia. Columbus firmly believed that this new route could solve Europe's trade problems and open up new wealth. However, Columbus had another reason for wanting to make this journey: he believed that the discovery of new lands would also help spread Christianity. Columbus envisioned himself as a missionary, sent to convert non-Christians and establish a new Christian empire across the seas. Columbus's idea was met with skepticism by many. The idea of sailing westward across the vast and unknown ocean seemed absurd. But Columbus persisted, seeking funding and support for his journey. After years of rejection, he finally gained the support of Spain's Queen Isabella. In 1492, Queen Isabella agreed to finance Columbus's expedition. She saw the potential for riches, but perhaps more importantly, she believed Columbus's mission would help spread Christianity to new parts of the world. With royal backing, Columbus set sail, hoping to change history forever. But Columbus's journey was not as straightforward as it seemed. While he presented himself as a noble explorer and missionary, Columbus used several deceptions to secure support for his voyage. He promised vast riches, but in reality, he had little idea what lay beyond the horizon. Columbus and his crew were venturing into unknown waters, driven more by hope than actual knowledge. As the journey progressed, Columbus's men grew restless and increasingly distrustful. They were sailing into uncharted waters, and supplies were running low. Rumors spread, and tensions mounted. Columbus had promised they would reach Asia quickly, but after months at sea, there was still no sign of land. His men began to question his leadership. Finally, on October 12, 1492, land was spotted. Columbus had not found Asia, but rather a new continent, one that had been completely unknown to the people of Europe, Asia, and Africa. The discovery of the New World would forever alter the course of history. What followed was a series of encounters, misunderstandings, and dramatic events that would shape the course of history in ways Columbus could not have imagined. The story of how Columbus's discovery led to the colonization of the Americas, the encounters between native peoples and European settlers, and the complex legacies of these early voyages will unfold in the next episode of History of America.